Lekker.
I say lekker, Jono.
Yes, cheers, man.
It was wonderful waking up this morning.
That was great.
Having won a game at Twickenham for once, you know.
Nice margin.
Been 8 years.
It was nice. I think England, to be fair, are struggling a bit.
Yeah, they're below where they should be.
Yeah.
Because, if you think about, they've lost to Argentina, they drew against the All Blacks, lost quite badly to I don't want to say a second string Springbok team, but we didn't have Jasper Wiese, we didn't have Cheslin Colby, Lukanya
Luet.
So I think maybe England is a bit down, and I think that Eddie Jones, like in all his post-match interviews, he's been like, no, we're on this journey or whatever. We were just a little bit unlucky. I think they're off where they need to be. Definitely,
and I think they're gonna. I haven't been on social media today to see any comments, but I would assume that the English press and the public are gonna question his team selection, like leaving Slade out was a big one, and Marcus Smith just didn't work against us. Farrell looked a bit better against us than
and it's
Smith.
Actually funny because I thought that last year Marcus Smith looked very good against us. I thought that actually he had a huge impact on the game, the tries that they scored, etc.
But maybe he's just now a marked man, because I saw Faf was definitely marking him.
I think our forwards are better than they were last year. I think that we put enough pressure on their forwards, and that sort of took out Marcus Smith a little bit.
Yeah, look, I don't think their forward pack can compete with ours. I don't think their forward pack is...
I think they've regressed.
I don't think their forward pack is of the best in the world.
If we think about the two, the game against France, the game against Ireland, they are nowhere near Ireland or France.
No, they aren't. I'm not sure if it's a strategy thing. I think Kawandiki should start every game. I don't understand why they're still playing the other guy.
Yeah.
But they do need to...
What's the other guy's name? Is it Genje? Was he a prop? Genje something.
I don't know who Genje is. What I know, I like this Hill guy, but he ended up costing them the game, I think.
I think Genje is a prop, actually, never mind.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, their front row... Look, I've always felt like throughout the last, let's call it 10 years, that England were the team that could match us physically. I always felt that. They were quite physical yesterday in the hits. The scrums, I felt like we definitely had the better of them. I thought like they were really under pressure. We did steal a couple of crucial line-out balls from them, especially near our try line. But they've got a ways to go if they want to be really competitive at the World Cup. I think they've had a really bad season. They drew to New Zealand, but that's about their best performance.
I think they said that they win like half their games this year, which for England is not so good, considering that they generally win a lot of their Six Nations games.
Yeah, but who did they beat? Had they beaten big names like France?
Well, they beat Australia twice at home.
Well, Wales beat Australia.
Yeah, so did they. Yeah. No, last night.
Did Australia come back and win?
Australia came back and win.
I saw that. They were 2 points off at the end of the game. Okay, I didn't watch the end. I just assumed that Australia won. That Wales won.
I think England lost to Ireland and France. Obviously. Okay. So.
Well, Australian rugby is probably in a worse place than English rugby, but. Anyway.
I think their locks aren't good, and like there are lots of people who think that Itoje is like the best player in the world. I think that their locks are not good enough.
Yeah,
if you think about the Irish locks and the French locks,
I still think Itoje is one of their better players, but I think he's a bit overrated.
I think he must play flank or something.
Maybe if he plays in a different pack.
Yeah, or in a different position.
Because yesterday I felt that there was remember that incident where there was a blow up, like they started like wanting to get physical with one another. I think that was actually staged. I think there was a word at halftime to say we need to. One of the things we can do is aggravate the South Africans. They tend to get stuck into that, and that might cause disruption. But it actually worked in our favour.
Yeah.
And fortunately, it wasn't reviewed properly, because they would have seen that he was the aggravator there, and then we might have.
Yeah, but
gotten a penalty
really
from
footage, there. Yeah, there wasn't really footage for it.
Yeah. Be that as it may, that cost him in the end because Hill was silly by throwing Faf like that, and that was a good decision to reverse the penalty.
Especially after the red card, they made some very silly decisions, like silly things, like not throwing the ball in straight into the line out tip tackling and well, not tip tackle, but at the ruck, tip clean out, if you want to call it.
Yeah,
that.
they should have taken.
If they'd been
more
more
of that
clinical,
opportunity.
they could possibly have come back.
Yeah, they've got some. They need some new, sparkling talent. I think May's always going to be good. Their fullback seems to be pretty good. He was also one of the World Player of the Year nominee. He seems okay. To me, I felt like a dangerous player.
Stewart,
I was scared of him.
I thought he took every high ball. I mean, Eddie Jones said that we won the aerial battle. I thought Stewart did very, very well.
He did, and he also
took every
broke
single ball.
Most of his first-time tackles. He got through the gap. I thought he was gonna.
He's good.
Come through. I thought the try that England scored where there was a Ben Young's quick tap, Farrell went through. I thought that was a great try, great bit of vision. In fact, as soon as he took the quick tap, I was like, oh,
there's a problem because
there's going to be a try.
Faf is down.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, like, we just played our normal game, but we did vary things. We played from deep. We played with skill and pace. We did things they didn't expect, and I think we're starting to do that. We're starting to surprise teams and catch them on the back foot with our tactics.
Yeah, I mean, if you think back to the 2019 World Cup where everything was Faf, kicking and up and under, this tour has definitely seemed to be like we're moving away from that, and that we're trying to play a little bit more expansively.
Yeah, and it's a step in the right direction because, look, you don't want to sacrifice your forward power for expansive rugby. That would be wrong.
Yeah.
But you don't want to make use of the talent we've got.
I'm
still just Curtly. When he got the pass, I was like, that's tickets. No one's going to stop this guy.
Yeah.
And then he scored a beautiful try.
And Marcus Smith
amazing.
isn't a slouch. I mean, to be stepped like that. But I mean, Curtly Armstead did have obviously the advantage of
he had space.
He had space and everything.
Yeah, exactly. So he was going to do that to anybody, really. But I do think we've got a conundrum because I think because Willemse was one of the outstanding players in the game, and I think our problem there is he's better with space and with it, than he is in a typical fly half position. That's where he gets cramped. That's where he doesn't know what to do. So I think we tactically, in the back line, we shifted. We put other players in at first receiver. We put him in space, and that really worked for us. But I still think we've got a proper kicking problem when it comes to kicking for posts.
Yeah. It's difficult to know what to do now because I've almost I'm not a Willemse. I'm not the biggest Willemse fan because he's a Stormer, but I feel like as soon as Pollard left, he did add something. Willemse did add something, and if we going forward, if we want to bring back Pollard, obviously he's a decent kicker. It's just difficult to know, whether we're going to lose out on that sort of expansive play that Willemse brings. But at least we have a better chance at kicking for posts.
I think the real question in the World Cup's going to be, if you want to start him, you've got to think about starting him at 12, which I don't think would be clever because I think Delende is the man.
Too good. I mean, I even thought about moving Pollard to centre, but losing Delende would be fatal.
You've got to keep Delende there, and also Delende's too one-dimensional, so Delende can't be on the bench.
He can't kick. Oh my goodness.
No, he can't kick.
He loves doing these little chips and grubbers and things. Oh my goodness.
I wish he would stop that. He's just not versatile enough to have on the bench. So you've got to start Delende. Then you've got to figure out what are you going to do with Willemse if you don't have a great kicking option, because in those knockout games you want a guy who can kick 80% plus. So I think we're going to have an issue there in terms of decision making, unless the guys train really, really hard and they somehow at their franchises they get selected to kick a bit so that they can practice. But I've always maintained, you have Willemse on the bench, he's like a quagga. Once you've squeezed the team and you've got a lead and they get scoreboard pressure on, and then you bring on a Willemse, I think you can kill teams.
Maybe he's like just utility back, like we were saying.
Yeah.
Maybe he should fill in for Frans Steyn, the traditional Frans Steyn position of him coming on. Let's say a 6-2 split, for instance.
Yeah.
Then Willemse is your utility back.
He gives you so many options, and the good news is he's been getting that experience, figuring himself out. The Springbok selectors and coaches are figuring out how he can play and how he can add value. So I'm not sure what the long-term vision is, but it certainly was to get him that experience. Which yesterday, I mean, his drop goals were amazing, and they were from far.
From far, yeah.
And he really got them well.
That's what was like so cool about yesterday's game, is how varied it was. We had the forward power with the scrums. We had some like South African traditional things like drop goals, and then we had some like expansive, exciting play as well. Lawrence is scoring a try.
Nice mauls as well.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the referee? The referee, I think for me, generally he was fine, but two things stood out for me. The one was the first scrum penalty that went to England. I thought that Vanapola couldn't take the hit and he dropped it, which I thought was an incorrect call against us. And then I'm not sure that Eben's try should have been a try.
Yeah, we were.
I don't know
about that.
I don't know what the rule is. Maybe someone can help us here. So the ball comes out of the ruck. He was tackled and then he's sort of loose from the ruck, but he's like lying on the ground. And then the ball comes out. He doesn't get on his feet and pick it up and put it down. He's sort of like on his knees, and then he scores it. And they didn't look at it again.
I don't know what the rule is, but I've always maintained, and I'm going to be consistent here. When it comes to tries, just review the thing. Just make sure. Everyone must look at it. They must be comfortable that it was in fact a try, and then it would make me more comfortable.
I'm happy that the try was given.
Yeah.
But
look, I mean, Itoje was illegally, he was being cynical on the ball there anyway. So
he might have gotten a yellow there.
I'm telling you now, that would have been a yellow card. Any other ref would have given that. I'm not moaning about that. That's
Do you
what
think
we're just analysing.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm super glad. Like, I just
made me feel a bit weird.
Yeah, as soon as we scored, I was like, was that a try? Because with Orance's try, I thought it was completely legit. Maybe a flat pass here and there. But there was a lot of talk between the ref and the TMO, whereas with Eben's try, it was like straight.
Yeah, and the ref was behind Faf, which means he didn't see 100% what happened. Well, how could he have? So he should have probably got involved there. I think we were playing advantage there, anyways. By the way, I stand to be corrected. But that, I think, wasn't that the try that came from the Hill loss of his frustration when he threw Faf. Faf went over the ball and he was off his feet.
I don't think it was.
England got the thing and then Faf got thrown. That's terrible discipline from Hill.
Bad discipline. They weren't clinical.
I actually thought Gardner was relatively good. What I love about a refereeing performance like that is when a ref is very clear, he talks clearly to players, he establishes his authority, and he I don't know, he was just very good at communicating.
It's just funny because he was the ref for the 2018 game at Twickenham where Owen Farrell shoulder charged Andre Esterhuizen.
Yeah, but maybe he's grown since then as a professional. Maybe. I don't know. I haven't seen him ref much this season. But, England were... I don't know how the fans and that are feeling and if they're complaining about the ref, but really they were outplayed, unfortunately.
I thought we outplayed them.
So, they've got some work to do.
That's the weakest I've seen them.
Good.
That's the weakest I've seen them in a while, England.
Yeah. Skulk made a good point. He said, and Joel yesterday after the thing, and they said that we're not going to get smashed by teams.
I don't think so.
That phase is that era is gone.
Yeah.
No team's going to come and is going to come and put big numbers on against us. I mean, we could have won that Ireland game. A couple of kicks went our way. France was in the balance as well. Look, we got beaten both those games fairly, but what I'm saying is, like, it looks like we could actually challenge. I mean, think about if you bring Colby back, Lurt back, back, Pollard back. Think about all of that. I thought Faf had
we've improved.
Good game.
I think we've improved this year from last year.
Probably.
I think we're a better team.
Yeah, we've grown.
Yeah,
we needed to use this year to grow and to start doing different things.
Yeah,
and I think that makes a lot of people happy.
And I feel like there were some Kaiser. I feel like there was lots of positives. Like, yes, for me, number one, Dwayne is coming to the twilight of his career. Jasper Wiese wasn't like the final product, the finished product for me last year, but I really feel like this was his breakthrough season. Very happy that we've got a proper replacement for Dwayne.
100%.
I thought Kurtley Orange is like the find of the friggin' season.
Definitely.
That's a great, because we've been struggling. Colby's been generally sort of injury prone the last while, and I don't think Nkosi is like quite the right replacement. He's also injury prone, and he doesn't quite have the X factor that Arendse has.
Yeah,
So
I think in course he's got to do a lot of work to even be back in consideration,
I think Willy's back on form.
which is excellent for us.
I think Damian Willems had a decent season.
Definitely.
I thought beginning of the season, last season I was dead against him, but I thought that he played well, even when he was playing fullback at the beginning of the season.
Well, you know where he's improved the most for me is he's not doing that dancing around behind the advantage
More
line.
direct.
He's being more direct. He's
Yeah.
taking the man on. He's using his step properly. He used to do too much of that running around the advantage line, messing around at the back there, flashy stuff. But now he's being much more directed. He's being it's more productive. It's just so he's definitely grown as a player. And look, if you were an opposition team and you've got him against you, it's going to be difficult for you. But he's excellent on defence.
Yeah.
So it's just going to be a conundrum on how to play him and how your final best team's going to look like.
Yeah.
Faf is back, I think.
I think Faf being dropped for a while, that definitely, and at the same time, even though Faf is back, I thought Jaden, and yes, Jaden can sometimes irritate me when he plays for the Sharks, in terms of making stupid decisions.
Yeah.
But I thought he played well when he was the starting scrum half. I thought he played well.
Yeah.
And maybe we have a decent backup in Jaden.
Yeah, and for me, a couple of things that didn't work. Rus doesn't work for the Springboks. He's out of his depth.
Yeah. It was kind of telling. His first action, as a starting eighth man, they ripped the ball out of his hands.
And he was really. You saw him here. He broke a couple of tackles in one run and that, but like Visa has much more of an impact in the game. I mean, if you watch the performance from Aurich yesterday for the Bulls, he's also, to me, he's got more to his game. And even if you think about when Marco van Staden came on with Kwaka, Marco van Staden is a machine. He's the real deal. So I think that Rus, I don't think that's going to work for the Springboks. I think he's going to be fine at the Stormers. That's great for them. But I think one player that has missed out that I think should be in the mix is Ruan Norkia.
Yeah, but he's still very young.
He is, but yes, he played well yesterday again for the Bulls.
I mean,
well.
he's a workhorse.
Talent.
He's like Franco Mostert, but he'll get his chance. He's too young. Even Itzebeth and those guys, they're super experienced. They're like seasoned campaigners. He's not going to break in there for a little while still.
Sure. Look, isn't Franco Mostert the unsung hero of that Bok team?
He's a legend. Like,
if that guy doesn't play a game, you'll know.
Yeah.
There'll be a huge hole.
And and it's wonderful. Like he plays flank, he plays lock,
and he's so hard.
He's so hard.
Yeah.
And he doesn't stop.
He's
almost
like
like
bleeding all over his face yesterday, and Sia quickly wiped it off.
He's like, Sia's like, you got a little something. Let me just get that for you.
Yeah. Sia's actually had a great game yesterday as well.
And he had a great season, I thought.
Yeah.
Like,
no, when Sia's on form, it's fantastic.
Yeah, and he's putting in the hard work, which is what you want from your captain, which is what you want from your flanks.
Yeah. Right, good. That was the right decision. The red card was the right decision.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's a red card all day long. When I saw that,
Thomas
I was
like, he's not a bad guy, but that was dumb.
Man, if South Africa are gonna, that's the one area they can improve, is discipline.
Yeah.
Yellow cards and red cards.
But I mean, I don't know if we've been lucky or whatever, not to have gotten more red cards over the last while. But this tour, we definitely lost the plot a little bit.
We've got to learn how to tackle differently, eh?
Yeah, and
all teams have got to learn how to tackle
don't
properly.
Headbutt people in the face. It's not nice.
Don't do that. It's not the done thing.
Yeah.
But we're feeling very positive for next year from a Springbok perspective.
Yeah.
So
I think it's like next year. It's going to be the culmination of it's going to be a crescendo of this situation where you have a strong French team, you've got a strong, very very strong Ireland team. I think the Springboks are going to be very competitive, possibly even
New Zealand
contenders to win. New Zealand's a bit of a dark horse. They're still there and thereabouts. They can still put 40 points on anyone.
What I hate about New Zealand is they could be like on the back foot and then just score from nowhere.
Yeah.
From like their try line.
Yeah.
I hate that.
It's so annoying.
Yeah. England, unless there's a marked improvement in how they perform, I don't think they're going to be much of a threat.
They're always decent, but I don't think that they're the big issue. Australia.
I think Australia's a dark horse as well, not for the tournament, but
Yeah.
definitely they could upset a few favourites in knockout games.
Yeah.
You know,
Wales had a very disappointing
Oof,
season.
I think Wales have got
I
a long
mean,
way to go.
They beat us here against a second B team or whatever, but I mean they beat us here, and then from there they lost to Georgia. They should not have lost to Australia yesterday. They lost
Especially
to
at
Italy
home.
earlier this year.
Yeah. You know, maybe one of those surprise teams as well in the World Cup is Argentina. If they can keep their card count lower and their penalty count lower and not have a lot of injuries, I reckon they could also make a few surprises.
Record score against Australia. They beat New Zealand in New Zealand. They beat England at Twickenham.
Yeah.
I mean,
yes, we beat them very easily.
You cannot
in South
take
Africa.
them lightly.
No, you can't take them. You can't take any team lightly these days, actually.
Yeah.
Scotland as well. Can't take them
Yeah.
lightly. But the main contenders for me is Ireland, France, us, and the All Blacks. It's going to be between those four guys.
Yeah. But you can't write off the other guys.
No.
But anyway, it's like, I feel sad. Like, it's the end of the international season.
Yeah, see, my wife is ecstatic. Let's put it that way. Anyway, lekker
Cheers,
man. Cheers to the Bokke.